He says tonight you're going to witness greatness. I wonder what they think now, because
man, he's always fought on the biggest stages. I mean, that's why he's the king. That's why he's here, and that's why we're still
undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, presentando a Saul Canelo Alvarez. Once again, a referee in charge, Thomas Taylor, now to give instructions.
Terence Crawford undefeated in 39 fights.
Terence Bud Crawford.
See him lay on that left side.
Punching between punches and a flush.
With another look at it right here. Terence following him out. Fundamentally.
Coming out. All that centering on the relationship of training.
Right. Canelo will have to cut off the ring. He takes the left hand and then comes in and shoved around.
The punches.
Free up your hands.
Setting traps for him.
That was the signature punch of that second round.
Round 3. Canelo is what he's trying to stick out there, and also
The right hand. Change the trajectory on it.
Right hook. Uppercut sends him back. Another left hand and a knockdown score.
After a whirlwind of rumors, drama, and even cancellation talks, the highly anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is back on for September in Las Vegas. But did Canelo price himself out on purpose? Does Crawford stand a chance moving up 2 weight classes? And what do boxing legends like Tim Bradley think about this blockbuster fight? Let's break it all down. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Like this video and subscribe. 98% of you watch without subscribing, and it helps a ton. Done? Awesome. Now, let's get into it. If you thought Canelo versus Crawford was dead in the water, you weren't alone. And honestly, who could blame you? This potential all-time classic went from dream match to total disaster in a matter of days, flipping the entire boxing world on its head. It all began with an explosive leak. Reports dropped via Turki Alalshikh's own media network that the 2 pound-for-pound kings had agreed in principle to fight in September, headlining a blockbuster event at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The internet erupted. Fans were on fire. Crawford, fresh off his dominant performance at 154, was ready to chase immortality at 168. And Canelo? He seemed locked in until he wasn't. Within just 48 hours of that announcement, the entire deal mysteriously collapsed. Suddenly, new headlines suggested the talks had fallen apart, with no clear explanation. One day it was on, the next day it was off. No press releases, no updates, just radio silence from Canelo's camp, who allegedly stopped responding to alalshikh's team altogether. It didn't take long for rumors to swirl that Canelo had intentionally gone cold, leaving Saudi investors hanging and the fight world in suspense. Some insiders hinted that the negotiation breakdown wasn't about contracts, it was about cash. While boxing purists speculated about weight differences and legacy risk, those in the know pointed to one massive, undeniable issue: the $150 million Canelo was reportedly demanding to fight Crawford. That's right, $150 million for a single night under the lights. Even for a generational talent like Canelo, this was unprecedented money, and many started to question if this was truly about legacy or something else. Was he strategically pricing himself out, hoping the Saudis would walk away and save him from a risky legacy gamble against a smaller, faster technician like Crawford? But then, just as quickly as it unraveled, the fight rose from the ashes. Turki alalshikh wasn't about to let the biggest fight of 2025 slip through his fingers. By late Thursday night, word spread that Canelo had officially inked a 4-fight megadeal with Riyadh Season, with Crawford now headlining the marquee slot in September. Crisis averted, or just temporarily delayed? Either way, the super fight was back on the table. But the behind-the-scenes drama had already raised questions that fans and pundits are still whispering about. Let's be real. When the number first surfaced, jaws dropped across the industry. $150 million. That's not just fight purse money, that's franchise money. And Canelo's bold demand didn't just shift the landscape, it shattered it. While elite-level fighters usually hover around $30 to $50 million for legacy bouts, Canelo walked into the negotiating room with an ask that even had the Saudis, yes, the Saudi Arabian sports machine that's been writing blank checks to global stars, blinking twice. At first glance, it felt like a classic power move. Canelo has long been the king of the A-side negotiations, the master of setting terms, dates, and paydays. By dropping a figure that no other boxer in the modern era has dared to request, let alone demand, he essentially threw down a gauntlet. Either you pay the price for the biggest fight on earth, or the fight doesn't happen. But beneath the headlines and the dollar signs, a different narrative started to bubble up. Some close to the negotiations began whispering that this wasn't just about value, it was about doubt. Sources suggest that behind the scenes, Canelo's team was hesitant about the Crawford matchup from the jump, concerned not just about weight, but about optics. Crawford is undefeated, strategic, and known for embarrassing bigger opponents with surgical precision. Was Canelo trying to walk away without saying it out loud? Sources close to the negotiations say even Saudi backers were stunned by the initial number, not because they couldn't afford it, but because they weren't sure if Canelo wanted the fight at all. In gossip circles, the theory spread fast. The $150 million wasn't just a cash grab, it was a strategic stall, a public poker face. If the Saudis walked away, Canelo could say, "Hey, I asked, they passed." And if they agreed, well, then Canelo could cash in on the most expensive fight of his life and still claim the throne if he won. In the end, Turki alalshikh wasn't fazed. The oil-rich mogul greenlit the deal, locking in Canelo for a 4-fight schedule through 2026 and guaranteeing the Crawford showdown as the centerpiece. The money was too big to fail. The fight became not just a bout, but a global event, and Canelo, whether by design or gamble, walked away with everything: control, cash, and headlines. But that $150 million figure still lingers like a question mark in the air. Was it the price of greatness or the cost of hesitation? If greatness is forged in fire, then Terence Bud Crawford is willingly walking into the flames. Already a 3-division world champion and the former undisputed king at 147 pounds, Crawford has never been one to shy away from risk. But this latest quest, leaping not 1 but 2 full-weight classes to face the powerhouse that is Canelo Alvarez, isn't just bold, it's borderline insane. Moving from 154 pounds to 168 pounds, Crawford is attempting something almost no elite fighter in modern history has pulled off successfully. It's a jump that doesn't just test your chin, it tests your bones, your lungs, your reflexes, and your entire fight IQ. At 168, the punches come heavier, the shots land deeper, and the margin for error practically non-existent. Boxing history is littered with cautionary tales of smaller fighters climbing too high, too fast. Amir Khan, once the fastest hands in the division, was obliterated by Canelo in 2016. A brutal reminder that speed alone can't carry you through the heavier weight classes. Kell Brook dared to dance with Gennady Golovkin, only to suffer a shattered eye socket and a shortened career. And then there was Mikey Garcia, who tried to outbox Errol Spence Jr. after moving up, only to be dominated and exposed. Yet, here's Crawford, daring to defy them all. His fans call it legacy chasing. Critics call it hubris. But everyone agrees on one thing: the danger is real. Bud may be slick, smart, and surgical, but he's stepping into a division where one clean punch can end everything. And Canelo? He's not just a bigger man, he's a natural-born bull who's lived in this weight class for years, absorbing and dishing out punishment like a man built for war. This isn't just another fight, it's an audacious gamble. And Crawford's playing it all on his timing, his ring IQ, and a belief that greatness lives just 14 pounds north of where he's ever dared to go. If there's one man who knows what happens when the wrong strategy meets the wrong opponent, it's Tim Bradley, former world champion, Hall of Famer, and now one of the sport's most respected and brutally honest analysts. And when it comes to Crawford versus Canelo, Bradley isn't mincing words. He's sounding the alarm. Bradley, who's watched Bud's career from the ground up, is both impressed and concerned, especially when it comes to one particular habit that Crawford just can't seem to kick: his love of trading shots. Bud thrives on danger. He switches stances, baits opponents, and then slashes them apart in exchanges. It's thrilling to watch, but against a man like Canelo, he's not going to back down. And that's what scares me about that fight, Bradley told Fight Hype in a recent interview. "You don't need to be trading with that bull. I know you're strong, but that dude, Alvarez, is naturally strong, and he's been at this weight class for a very long time. He's acclimated, you're not." That quote hit like a warning shot across boxing's glamorous facade. Bradley isn't questioning Crawford's heart. He's questioning whether that heart might get him knocked out cold if it beats too fast in the pocket. He pointed out that Bud's style, dynamic, flexible, but often tempted by bravado, might be his undoing. Against a methodical powerhouse like Canelo, one miscalculated exchange could be all it takes. And Canelo doesn't waste his punches. When he connects, bones break. Bradley's bottom line: fight smart, not proud. Crawford must resist the temptation to prove he can take Canelo's heat, because if he doesn't, if he trades fire with fire, he could become another name on the list of brilliant boxers broken by the weight and power of someone just too big. The question lingers like a thundercloud. Will Bud listen, or will history repeat itself in painful, highlight reel fashion? While the Crawford fight grabs all the headlines, the real story might be buried deeper. Canelo Alvarez isn't just fighting. He's launching a boxing empire. His freshly signed 4-fight mega deal with Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season isn't just a contract. It's a global tour, a money-printing machine, and a strategic chessboard for legacy, leverage, and legacy control. Here's what we know so far. The first fight in the deal is slated for May 2025 in Riyadh, likely against undefeated IBF champion William Skull. A tune-up on paper, but a necessary step to unify the super middleweight belts before taking on Crawford. If he gets past Skull, then it's on to the main event of this entire project, the September 2025 showdown with Crawford at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. But Canelo's play doesn't stop there. 2 more fights are locked in for 2026, both set in Saudi Arabia's glitzy new fight capitals. One in February, one in October. And the list of potential opponents already being floated reads like a future Hall of Fame ballot. Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo a rare loss in 2022, is rumored for a blockbuster rematch. Hamza Shiraz, the rising British star, is also in early conversations, especially if he shines in his world title shot on the Bivol-Beterbiev undercard. And then there's Chris Eubank Jr., fresh off a 2-fight deal with Turki alalshikh and linked to massive British grudge matches with Conor Benn. Eubank is flashy, marketable, and, if he wins big in 2025, a potential dance partner for Canelo's final Riyadh bout. Oh, and let's kill that internet fantasy once and for all. Canelo will not be fighting Jake Paul. That circus act has officially been left outside the kingdom's golden gates. The rumors were fun while they lasted, but the ink on this 4-fight deal proves it. Canelo is staying in serious territory. Sorry, YouTube, the grown-ups are back in the ring. This isn't just a career extension, it's a career rewrite. Canelo is securing legacy fights, massive purses, and global attention, all while staying in control of the narrative. He's not just boxing in 2025 and 2026, he's headlining the future. In boxing, when the legends can't agree, that's when you sit up straight, because you know something real is about to happen. The matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has thrown the sport's most respected voices into a whirlwind of conflicting predictions, gut feelings, and emotional bias. It's not just a fight anymore, it's a full-on boxing debate for the ages. Mike Tyson, the embodiment of raw power, didn't mince words. Canelo's too strong. Crawford's great, but size matters in boxing. That one line echoes decades of combat truth. You can't train mass. And Tyson would know. Then you've got Shakur Stevenson, the new school technician, who's seen Bud up close. Bud is too smart. He figures guys out when others panic. That IQ is different. To Shakur, this isn't just about weight, it's about levels. And Crawford, in his eyes, plays chess where others swing checkers. Then comes Teddy Atlas, ever the strategist who doesn't just watch fights, he dissects them. His warning? Cold and clinical. Canelo's too big. This ends like Brook versus Golovkin. Beautiful fighter, wrong weight class. Atlas is painting a familiar horror. The brilliant technician crumpling under pressure from a bigger, meaner man. But Andre Ward, a legend who knows a thing or two about fighting bigger guys and winning, sees another layer. Crawford's movement, his ability to adapt mid-fight. That's what gives Canelo problems. And then there's the wild card, Roy Jones Jr., whose career rewrote rules about weight jumps and knockout power. His take? Balanced but brutal. Canelo's too patient, too heavy-handed. He'll eventually break Bud down. These are Hall of Famers, champions, strategists, and none of them agree. And that's the magic. When even the experts argue at the bar, the gym, and the studio, you know this isn't hype. This is a collision of styles, stories, and legacies so compelling that not even the most decorated minds in the sport can predict what's coming. And in boxing, that's when you know this is the real thing. Let's call it what it is. Every super fight is equal parts spectacle and science, and this one might be the most polarizing of them all. On paper, it's a dream. Two generational talents, pound-for-pound elites, clashing in a stadium under the Vegas lights. But underneath the glitz lies a more brutal question. Is this a fair fight, or is Bud being fed to the lions? The cynics call it a mismatch. They see a natural 147-pounder walking into the jaws of a seasoned 168-pound predator, chasing greatness on paper, but staring down a payday that could come at the cost of his health. The skeptics whisper that this fight smells like a setup, a beautiful storyline wrapped around a physical mismatch. And for what? Legacy? Or a check too big to ignore? But the purists? They see something different. They see a chess match in the making. A battle of ring IQ, angles, and adaptability. Crawford is the slicker fighter. He has better footwork, a deeper toolbox, and a chip on his shoulder the size of Omaha. His fans believe this is not suicide, it's history in motion. Still, you can't ignore the elephant in the ring. Canelo is not just strong, he's battle-tested at this weight. He's taken punches from light heavyweights and barely blinked. And Crawford? We've never seen him take a clean shot from a 168-pound bull like Canelo, not even close. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Both things can be true. This is a super fight. This is also a dangerous gamble. That's why it works. That's why we're watching. Because boxing is built on questions that don't have easy answers. And this one asks the biggest of them all. Will skill overcome size, or will reality crush the dream? All right, gloves off. Now it's your turn. Let's hear it from the real fight fans, the comment section killers, the group chat debaters, the people who eat, sleep, and breathe this sport. Because this one? It's personal. It's legacy. It's the kind of matchup that keeps you arguing long after the final bell. So tell us, is Crawford chasing greatness or gambling with disaster? Was Canelo ducking or just negotiating like a boss? Does Bud even stand a chance at 168? Or is this just another big money mismatch dressed up for the cameras? And while we're at it, who's really the face of boxing right now? Drop your picks, your predictions, your hot takes. Be bold, be brutal, be legendary. Let the debate begin. And remember, in a super fight like this, history doesn't just happen. It gets written by those brave enough to step into the fire. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video to support the channel. Subscribe to Boxing is Here for the latest updates, fight breakdowns, and expert analysis. And turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.